There was a very rich king who had a large kingdom filled with loyal citizens. The king loved to hear his people cheering, for it made him very happy. The king loved his people so much that he would even lend his own money to the loyal citizens if they needed. This made the people very happy. One day, the king decided to have his accountants check the books and see if any of his loyal citizens owed the king any money. As the accountants worked, they noticed that one of the king's loyal citizens had borrowed millions of dollars and never paid it back. You can imagine that the king was pretty angry. So the king sent his royal guards to march away to get the man and bring him before the king. The guards marched back with the man. The king was angry. The accountants were angry. The guards were angry. The man who owed money wasn't at all angry. He was scared to death. The king crossed his arms and frowned. He paced back and forth and stomped his feet loudly. The king would have to punish this man severely, since he couldn't pay back any of the money. The man fell to his knees before the king, who was shaking his head. He pleaded with the king and said, "Please be patient with me. I promise to pay back everything I owe." The king tapped his foot. The king twirled his thumbs. The king scratched his head. Then he scratched the head of the man who owed him money. The king swallowed deeply. Then suddenly, the king's frown turned into a smile, and he laughed right out loud. "I forgive you. You are free to go," shouted the king as he put his arms around the man's shoulders. The man was so happy that he jumped up in the air, did a cartwheel, and ran home. And all of the king's loyal citizens cheered loudly for their generous king.
When the servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him $100. He grabbed him and began to choke him. "Pay back what you owe me," he demanded. His fellow servant fell to his knees and begged him, "Be patient with me and I will pay you back." But he wasn't willing. On the contrary, he went and threw him into prison until he could pay what was owed. When the other slaves saw what had taken place, they were deeply distressed and reported to their master everything that had happened. Then, after he had summoned him, his master said to him, "You wicked slave, I forgave you all that debt because you begged me. Shouldn't you also have had mercy on your fellow slave, as I had mercy on you?" And his master got angry over to the jailer until he could pay everything that was owed. So my heavenly Father will also do to you if each of you does not forgive this brother for his heart.